Hi, thanks for coming on. Andy speaking on Friday morning, 1st of August. Looking ahead to the weekend, the first weekend of the season, and we've got action in all four leagues in Scotland and two leagues in England in League One and League Two. So probably our six favourite best leagues. League Two in Scotland is our best league, as we know, or historically always has been. And we are going to start with that one now. And just quickly, I think we made the right decision, didn't we? We advised three members' bets on Monday night. All have shortened drastically. Two of them wouldn't be bets now. So I think that's proved to be a wise decision. Three bets we advised Monday. If we were going to bet them now, we'd only be backing one of them. And so I did say over the course of two seasons, we noticed 61 occasions that we could have bet and we didn't, and we missed out because we didn't go with the early value. And but this time we have, and fingers crossed that it's going to pay dividends. Well, it has done the last two seasons anyway. But right, let's get on with this. Scottish League Two. There's not a lot really going on. That should be highlighted. Sorry, apologies for that. There's a fair bit going on, sorry. Right, let's talk about the first game then. Annan Elgin, 38-24-38. I can't find anything in this game. There's a tiny bit in Annan. It's not worth talking about. I don't know what to make of the game, really. Annan have come down. My sort of knowledge is that they don't expect to go straight back up. But, I think it's difficult to judge first week. And, we only know what we've been told and basically what we've sort of deduced from the League Cup games. But I do think that, you can get more ahead of the game in Scotland on the first week of the season than you can in England. Certainly do. And but as I say, we've got bets in both England and Scotland for members this week. So fingers crossed. But as I say, I don't see anything in that game at all. There's nothing in the next game, Dumbarton at home to Clyde. I don't know what to make of either of these two sides, to be honest. We've discussed them, haven't we, in the outrights. But looking at this, there's no value in the game at all. Dumbarton just favourites to win, but only just. It's not a game I'd want any involvement in at all. East Kilbride against Spartans, 24-12. We see East Kilbride at 4-7. They're 7-10, so there's 0.13 in them. It's up to you whether you think that's a value bet or not. I've told you already on the video what's expected this season at East Kilbride, and we have well and truly nailed our colours to the mast. They're the highest team clear on figures in Scotland. If you go back to the table I put in the video last night, you'll see. But they're the we expect them to win this title. There's 0.13 in them against Spartans tomorrow. Edinburgh Stirling, 50-27-23. Edinburgh done okay. Stirling had come down. Alan Mabry's in charge at Stirling. He did have a season at Edinburgh. He didn't do overly great with Stirling, I have to say. And I'm not so sure on him. I'm really not. I wouldn't have been surprised if there'd been a change in the summer, but there wasn't. They've stuck with him. There's 0.3 in Edinburgh at 50%, so again, that's whatever you think. Forfar against Stranraer, 50-24-26. Forfar have been smashed up. Forfar were early price this week. I think they were 23-20. They're now into 3-4, so there's been absolute mega money for Forfar. Jim Weir will have had a proper pre-season with him. I know it's Scotland, but we still have to, discuss it, don't we? He's what has he had? 2 or 3 spells at Forfar, hasn't he? I think it's his second one, I think. He's managed Montrose, Arbroath, Brechin, Forfar. He managed a heck of a lot of clubs. Montrose, Forfar, up there on the east coast, and I've been to both those grounds as it happens. But yeah, there's one and a bit points in Stranraer, but I don't know. Stranraer on the road never offer inspiration to me. They really don't. But I'm interested to see how East Kilbride go against Spartans, as I say. And from what we've seen pre-season, I mean, they turned over Wraith 4-2 at Starks, which I was very, very impressed with. They lost to 3-1 St Johnstone, but I'm told that game could have been a draw. And then they got a hiding off Inverness, but you know how much I've talked Inverness up, and they're another side that have been smashed up this week, and we're going to have a look at that now. So League 2, best bet, if I had to have one bet, obviously I think it would be Edinburgh. Highly rated, 0.3 in it. There's 0.13 in East Kilbride at 64%. It's entirely up to you. Right, Scottish League 1 then. Cove, Queen of the South, 44, 27, 29. There's been money for Cove this week. Certainly has. They're into 6-5. We see them at 5-4. The draw's 11-4. I've just missed that bit out. 29% Queen of the South. We see them at 12-5. They're available at 9-4. Nothing in the game. If I had to bet, I would probably just side with Cove. I expect better at Queen of the South this season, but we'll see. Hamilton Montrose 48, 24, 28. Was hoping to bet Hamilton this week, but not at even money. There's certain teams you're prepared to back at certain prices, but not this one. Montrose, as I say, they'll give a good account of themselves this season. They probably won't get relegated because I think Peterhead, East Fife, Kelty, Stenhousemuir are probably worse than Montrose. Because I remember at the start of the season I said I think you can divide this league into 2 teams of 5. Montrose will probably top that bottom 5, and then that leaves you with Inverness, Queen of the South, Hamilton, Cove, Alloa, those other 5, and I think that you're pretty certain the title's going to come from. I'm pretty sure Inverness is going to win the league anyway, but no bet in that game. Kelty, Inverness 18, 27, 55. Inverness odds on 4-5. We see them. They're 3-4, so nothing in them. Kelty, Thomas Aware is the manager of Kelty. He's an ex-player. He's going to be player manager, I'm told. He's 32. I'm not convinced at all. I think they're going to struggle. They lagged up in League 2, and I thought that, we may see them go on a run. Cove were the other side. They made it to the Championship. It's very tough to do and sustain it. And, look at poor old Brechin. They made it to the Championship and suffered, 3 relegations on the spin, didn't they? No, Inverness ought to be winning this, but as I say, there's no value in it. Peterhead East 5, 44, 26, 30. It's a smidge in Peterhead, 0.05. I don't think it's really worth overly discussing. Both of these came up. I think both will struggle this season. You could treat this as a must-win game. I know it's first game of the season, but if you're one of these two, you are going to want to get points on the board early doors. I think they've got some tough away fixtures, East Fife, coming, over the next month. I think they've got to go to Inverness and Hamilton, 2 of their next 3 away games. So, you don't really want to be getting a thump in here first weekend, because I can't see East Fife getting anything at Inverness and Hamilton. Stenhousemuir Alloa 38, 24, 38, the only game with a bit of value in. But again, I think this is far too close to call. I said at the start of the season, I said in the preview that I want to see Alloa start turning some of these draws into wins. Andy Graham's had a couple of seasons at the club. and if you look at his record, it's pretty good. He's won 34, drawn 20, lost 22. So he's got a 45% win strike rate, almost. But some of those defeats need to be turned into draws, and some of those draws need to be turned into wins. If they can do that, they'll not be far away. Do you know, I look at that Alloa squad, and I don't think it's the worst squad in the world. It's without doubt in the top 3 or 4 in this league. I don't know. It seems to be there's a... If he was manager in England, he'd remind me of a Steve Bruce, maybe. You know, don't get beat today, lads, sort of attitude. But it doesn't get promotion, that doesn't. But if you want to bet from League One, well, there's only one team there's value in, and that's Alloa. And would I be backing it? No, I wouldn't. Inverness highest rated, but there's no value. Hamilton high rated, no value. That's League One. Right, let's go to League One. As you can see straight away, value is extremely thin on the ground here. Arbroath Air, 26, 26, 48. Air odds on, not for me. This game's tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I would imagine they'll probably win Air, but I wouldn't want to be taking odds on. Airdrie against Ross, 26, 26, 48. Exactly the same ratings as I've come up with on the first game. Ross should be winning. But again, no value. But if you look at the difference, I mean, Ross are in at 21 to 20, Air in at 19 to 20. If you had to make one bet, you'd certainly back Ross over Air, wouldn't you? Just, you know, I know there's no value there, but I think Air is way too short. I really do. You know, if Ross were to drift to, you know, just a bit bigger than 11 to 10, they could be worth a punt. Morton Dunfermline, 36, 30, 34. This game, tough to call. I know Neil Lennon's in charge of Dunfermline, and I do expect them to go well this season. I really do. But, you know, it's one of those which, for me, I think might just be a bit of a slow burner, if you know what I mean by that. And it might just take them a bit of time. But the ton are no great shakes. Usually expected to struggle, but usually get safe. I think they're going to be struggling with Arbroath and Airdrie this season. That's my take, and possibly Queen's Park. Wraith Queen's Park, 57, 23, 20. I think that's an insult of a price to Queen's Park. I really, really do. As I just said to you, I think that you know, Queen's Park aren't the best. Sean Crichton's in charge. He was caretaker manager at Stenhousemuir. I think they're going to take a backward step this season. I really do. But you know, that's not to say that Wraith are, you know, a great side. I don't think they've done well at all last season. You know, he came in, didn't he, Robson, in December, and got an 11-5-8 record. That's okay, but I mean, they went off favourites. I mean, we could never understand it, and I said to you at the time, and you know, they got that doing by East Kilbride, didn't they? I don't rate them at all. I really don't, but we shall see. St Johnstone Partick, 48, 25, 27. Another team I was hoping to back this week, St Johnstone, but not at odds on. Partick, Mark Wilson's just come into the job, hasn't he? I don't really know what to make of him. He's been out of the game a wee while. He had a 10% win rate with Brechin. Didn't do the worst job with Airdrie, but he's been out of the game for a while. I didn't know what to make of Partick. I think St Johnstone will win, but I just don't want to be with them at the price. But I think there's plenty of value in Queen's Park. I really do. I think Wraith will probably win, and as you can tell by figures. But I just thought they were being insulted at 15 to 2. Wraith are no 4 to 11 shots. I'll tell you what, if you want to back a team at 4 to 11 that's rated 50% every week, you're going to go bankrupt. Take that from me. Right, Scottish Premiership. Again, not overly amounts of value here. Don't forget these games are spread over a few different days. Kilmarnock Livingston, 47, 26, 27. I think Killy ought to be winning this. If I'm totally honest, I wouldn't expect a raft of goals either. Killy too short, Livingston the right price. Motherwell Rangers 18-22-60. Yeah, Rangers. Russell Martin's in charge. They had a really good performance last night against Panathinaikos. Is that going to take a bit of an edge off? As I said, they looked a fit side. They really did. They looked a fit side, Rangers. Motherwell, I think, will struggle this season. I could be totally wrong, but I don't really know what to make of this manager. He came in at the end of last season, had 4 games, won 3 of them. There's 2 points in them at 18%. It's up to you. But, Rangers aren't to be trusted. We learnt that last season. Falkirk against Dundee United, 42-26-32. Odds on, not a chance. I think that's a bit of an insult to Dundee United. It's going to be a bit of a cup final carnival atmosphere there, isn't it, at the weekend? With them coming back to the Premiership for the first time in donkey's years. But Dundee United under Jim Goodwin are no mugs at all. They really aren't. There's a point in Dundee United at 32%. I've had a few quid on it. It's not a members bet. I'll be totally honest now, it's not a members bet. But, I just think 3-1 is a bit of an insult. And I shall try and get a stream for the game and maybe try and trade out or hope to trade out or something. But I don't think Falkirk warrant being odds on for this at all. Absolutely not a chance, do I? And Falkirk are 11-8. I don't know what that odd 2 was doing there. But yeah, Falkirk 11-8. They're 19-20. It's a bad value bet. I'm not saying they won't win. They're rated to win, but there's a 58% chance they won't win this game. So work that out. Dundee Hibernian 22-26-52. Hibs 52%, 10-11. That's what they are. So nothing there. He done an amazing job last season, didn't he? David Gray. He really did. They didn't seem to be going anywhere. He switches to a 3 at the back, and all of a sudden, Hibs look worldies. If they can carry on that this season, someone asked me this week, could they press for 3rd? Do you know, it's not beyond the realms. It's not beyond the realms. I think Hearts are favourites, and rightly so, with Derek McInnes. I still think McInnes is one of the best managers in Scotland. And I always say that Aberdeen were wrong to get rid of him, and I do think that might come back to bite Aberdeen this weekend. But Hibs, he done an amazing job. He really did, and credit to him. I think they ought to beat Dundee, but they're odds on. We put them in at odds on, so there's nothing in the game. Celtic St Mirren, nothing in this game either. It's pretty pointless talking about Celtic and Rangers. 75%, 3's on. They're 2-11. There's nothing in it. There's nothing in St Mirren either. Hearts against Aberdeen. Do you know, I was prepared to back Hearts when I'd done it. I really did think we'd get much bigger than 6-5. I thought we might get 11-8, even 6-4. But bookmakers 23-20. I think the guy at Aberdeen, Jimmy Tellin, I think he's under a bit of pressure. But McInnes, I don't think there'll be many goals here. I think Hearts 1-0, something like that, 2-0. As I say, I did want to back Hearts, I really did. But, there's just nothing there. And as sad as it is. Best bet in this division, it's probably Dundee United for me. As I say, I've had a few quid on. I'm not saying they're going to win, but, I just think that is bloody insulting to Dundee United. I really do. They don't warrant being odds on, but I know that when smaller teams come up, it's first game of the season is like the FA Cup. Always remember Cardiff doing Man City on the opening day. I think it was it Cardiff, and I think Wolves beat Man United, and these things happen in football. And but they're not 3-1 shots. Dundee United, no way. Right, let's go on to England. I think value's thin on the ground here. Luton Wimbledon 58-24-18. 2's on. I just don't see that. Sorry, I don't. I mean, yes, there was 2 divisions between these two sides last season. But they're in the same division for a reason. They weren't good enough and went down. They were good enough and went up. I don't see Luton at 2's on. And it's like what I've just said to you about the Dundee United bet. Look, you've got a point there at 18%. You got a point there at 22%. And Dundee United have got a 15% more chance than them, 11% chance more than them, and you're still getting paid out of the same amount of value in the price. So that's why I think that Dundee United are being overlooked. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm just saying they're being overlooked. Cardiff, Peterborough, 55, 23, 22. Again, I think Cardiff are way too short at 3-5. Most likeliest winners, yes. In League One, they're the team that probably fascinates me the most because it's interesting to see how they're going to play. Because, as I say, this guy's worked under Pep, and he's brought the likes of Phil Foden through at Man City, and he's worked with all the rest of the guys like De Bruyne and stuff, and when they've all mucked in together. So, he's experienced and he'll know a player, this guy. I'm certain he will. Well, he will do. But it could just take 3 or 4 games for them to settle, and Posh could be ready for this. There's a point in them at 22%. It's up to you. Blackpool, Stevenage. I was wanting to back Blackpool. I thought they'd probably be odds on. I put them in at evens, and I looked. I was expecting 10 to 11, something like that, and maybe 19 to 20. But they're evens, so bookmakers see the game the same way I do. 3-1 Stevenage, evens Blackpool. There's nothing in there. I think Blackpool will win. The next 2 games are both minefields. Bradford, Wickham, 38, 24, 38. I think Blackpool are short. Bradford, I think, are short enough at 6-4. Just like what I said about Dundee United, I think Wickham are being insulted slightly. I think they'll be disappointed. Wickham, but there's 0.3 in them. Burton, Mansfield, 38, 24, 38. Tough game to assess this, really is. I think Burton are probably just about the worst team in the division. Mansfield, mid to bottom table side, but probably better than Burton. But again, no bet. Doncaster, Exeter, 50, 26, 24. Doncaster, I don't think should be odds on. I think they'll probably win. I think, there's no disrespect being shown to Exeter really, because we've got them in at the right price. Bookmakers just don't want to take any chances on Donny. Rightly so as well, because I do think they'll probably win. Huddersfield Orient, 47, 26, 27. I think Huddersfield should win. But again, you're being asked to take even money about an 11 to 10 shot. You can't do it. There's nothing in Orient either. Lincoln Reading, 40, 25, 35. I don't think Lincoln should be even money. Sorry, I really don't. I think that's an insult to Reading. I'm not saying Reading are a great side or anything like that, but when you look at our overall ratings, we've got Reading way ahead of Lincoln. I'm not saying they're going to start the season on fire, but there's 0.92 in them at 35%. It's up to you, but that is poor value. I mean, they might trot up 4-0 Lincoln, but I just think that's poor value. It's 0.92 in Reading. Plymouth Barnsley, 50, 25, 25. Probably the soundest bet in League One. They should be evens. They're 5-4. I would expect them to hit the ground running. I think home form is going to be crucial for them this season, and they'll probably beat Barnsley. I think Barnsley should be bigger than 2-1, a lot bigger. There's 0.25 in Plymouth. Rotherham Port Vale, 40, 26, 34. I think 5-4 short enough about Rotherham as well. Any side that's got a sort of decent-ish rating, you've got 50, 40, 7, 40, 50, 40. There's only one side there that's got a bit of value in them. There's, bookmakers taking no chances at all this week. 0.2 at 34% in Port Vale is no interest at all. Final 2 games, Wigan Northampton, 47, 26, 27. 0.15 in Wigan at 47%. And when you look at that, I'm not saying the Wigan bet's a bad bet. I mean, it's a bet I'd be normally happy to make. But you're getting 0.25 at 50%. You're getting 0.15 at 47%. When you compare the two, there's only one you want to be on, really, isn't there? Stockport Bolton, 43, 26, 31. I'm not a huge fan of either of these two sides going forward. I have to say, in the pre-season assessment, we've discussed them. I'm not happy with that. Even money. I mean, that is a bit of a middle finger to Bolton Wanderers. Sorry, but it is. They don't warrant being even money. No way. 0.8 at 31%, 3-1 Bolton. I'd certainly wouldn't be backing that. I really wouldn't. I think this game's live on the box as well. But, again, look at that. 50% at 5-4, 43% at evens. Don't get sucked into that. I'm not saying they can't win, but if you prepared to back teams at even money that got a 43% chance of winning, you can't win in the long run. You can't win. Yeah, you'll be lucky some weeks, but overall, you are going to finish down. Let's have a look at League Two. Not the best value here either as well. It's a trappy weekend. Accrington, Gillingham, 38, 24, 38. Who do I think will finish higher this season? Gillingham. Who do I think will win this weekend? I don't know, and that's the honest answer. I couldn't split these two sides because you have to add points when a side's at home, and when you add, you look at the overall ratings, Gillingham might be ahead, but yeah, I mean Accrington are at home. It's a tough call. Barnet, Fleetwood, 48, 24, 28. I thought that was mightily short. How can I say it? They're on a bit of a crest of a wave, Barnet, and again, you've got to factor that in. Who do I think will finish highest in the league this season? Fleetwood will finish higher than Barnet. I'm absolutely convinced. But it just could be Barnet's day this weekend. Like what I said about the Falkirk game against Dundee United. It could be probably going to be Falkirk's weekend, but I think Dundee United will finish higher over the course of the season. A game not to get involved in, but I do think they'll go well. Bristol Rovers, Harrogate, 50, 24, 26. Evens, 7-8, not for me. I think they're far too short, Bristol Rovers. When I put them in at evens, I knew they were going to be odds on. I didn't think we'd have a cat in hell's chance of backing them. I did want to back them, but not going to back them at 7-8. Cambridge, Cheltenham. Again, I put them in at evens. I did think we might get a bit about Cambridge, but no, bookmakers not taking any chances at all. Put them in odds on, so again, no bet. Both of those two should win. Chesterfield, Barrow, 55, 24, 21. Half a point in Barrow, but Chesterfield ought to be winning. I mean, you've got three sides there that should really be winning on figures, but none of them are any value. Colchester, Tranmere, 44, 24, 32. I think that's short enough. I really do. I see them at 5-4. I thought bookmakers was slightly insulting of Tranmere, putting them in at 11-4. I didn't think that was, I thought it was a bit below the belt, if I'm honest. Colchester need to hit the ground running this season. They've got a decent enough squad there. They really have. I think they're better than what we've seen. Grimsby, Crawley, 44, 26, 30. A game that I wouldn't want to bet in if you gave me the money to have a bet, because I just wouldn't know where to put it. I would probably just say Grimsby, but there's no value in Grimsby, and the 0.2 at 30% in Crawley offers nothing. It's a real naff first week of the season coupon. MK Dons, Oldham, 54, 26, 20. Odds on, I agree, 5-6, 7-10. I don't agree. I think that's far too short. For a team that managed one goal in their last few games, yes, they didn't concede, but I'm sorry. I've said all the way along, I'm not with this wave of optimism that's engulfed MK Dons. Yes, they've got a top manager in charge in Paul Warne, but for me, the squad, I look at the squad, it still looks thin. There's better teams in this. There's better squads in the league than this. There's probably nobody with a better manager. So it does sort of counterbalance it. But I do pay a great importance on the manager. The manager is the most important thing at a football club. I don't care what anybody says about players and stuff. You can fill a squad with £100 million players. You've got a crap manager, the team won't perform. You get a really decent manager in and fill it with average players. That manager will get every ounce out of those players and get them overperforming. And talking of overperforming, I watched Arsenal Tottenham today from Hong Kong. It was supposed to be a friendly. I didn't think there was anything friendly about it, I have to say. If you didn't know, Tottenham won 1-0, and I thought it was a brilliant performance from Tottenham. And do you know something? For the first time in God knows how many years, I think we've seen Tottenham attack set pieces. I think they could be a danger from set pieces this season, and I thought they held out well defensively, and both teams were really at it. There was a fair few yellow cards about as well. It's never a friendly game, isn't it, when teams like that meet? But I found it plenty interesting, and if you haven't seen a goal, it was a brilliant goal. He scored it from the halfway line, Sarr. But yeah, really good game. It probably doesn't mean anything in the scheme of things. I think Arsenal would be way ahead of Tottenham at the end of the season. But I thought it was a brilliant game to watch. And, especially as the cricket was interrupted. Newport Notts County, 25-25-50. Again, rated to win. Again, no value. There's a point in Newport at 25%. Up to you. Salford Crew, 48-25-27. Most likeliest winners, Salford. I was going to bet Salford, and then I saw that. I thought we might get 5-4 when I put them in at 11-10. I reckon we'll get 5-4. Go and have a look at the odds, 19-20. Disappointed. Same story. Every time you look at a team, you think, oh yeah, 5-4 might get 6-4. 5-4 might, and it's been the same thing all day. You look through, you hope, but it isn't there. And finally, Shrewsbury, and I'll give you the best bet in a minute. Shrewsbury, Bromley, 42-24-34. Hard to know what to make. I forget his name. It's on the tip of my tongue. Shrewsbury. Think they've got a half decent manager. Don't think they'll be as bad as people are saying. The Shrews. Walsall, Swindon, 38-24-38. I think that's far too short. There is going to be a bad hangover there. I swear it. And Ian Holloway and his lot are the sort of team to get right up your nose, I'm afraid. But I do like Ollie. I think they're going to go well this season, Swindon. I really, really do. I really do. I think he got a hell of a tune out of them, didn't he, at the end of last season? Full pre-season under him. He's somebody that you, as a player, you'd want to play for. Don't care who you are. Right, best bet in League 2. Crikey. I'd probably say Tranmere Rovers. 0.75 at 32% is probably just about enough. League 1. It's a tight call, isn't it, between Reading and Plymouth? Yeah. You got 0.25 at 50, you got 0.92 at 35. I'd just say Plymouth because one, they're at home, one, it's on 50%, and two, there's a quarter of a point in it. But that's not a bad bet either. But that is it, guys. I think, as I say, I was delighted that we gave those 3 bets out on Monday because the value has all gone out of all of them. And I think it was a wise decision. Well, one of them still got a bit of value in, but only a smidge. And I think had we left it till the normal day, we would not have been betting 2 of those, and that's sad. But we've bet them. You could trade them out for a profit now, and that is the beauty of getting on early, and the beauty of giving those bets out on a Monday. But that's it for week 1. Fingers crossed we have a good week. Good luck whatever you're doing, and we'll be back next weekend. That's it. Bye for now.